The big story tonight, it's after the swearing-in of Raila Odinga. The crackdown is officially on for NASA officials and for journalists as well for defying that directive to cover that event. My guests are still with me. JME Simeha, who is a strategist at NASA, Dan Manzo, excuse me, who's Makueni MP. Let's listen to Fred Matiang'i, who's the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, talking about who they're going after now.
We have taken a decision to be a rule of law government. We will act strictly according to the law, and we will govern according to the law. But that does not mean that we will not deal with crime, especially serious crime that has got the potential of endangering not just the stability of our country, but the lives of our people. Therefore, I need to let the country know this afternoon that as a result of what happened yesterday, we have commenced a wide-scale investigation targeting individuals and organizations who include but may not be limited to certain media houses. We will act decisively but strictly according to the law.
And indeed, we have just told you from our reporter Brian Obuya, who's outside the Nation Media Group Center in the CBD. Linus Kaikai has reportedly confirmed that they are there, but he's not sure under what specific orders to arrest him. Apparently, NTV journalists Larry Mado and Ken Mujungu also perhaps on that list. Jeremy Simeha, Dan Manzo, it's good to have you with us. Dan, I'd like to begin with getting your reactions to Fred Matiang'i, Cabinet Secretary, Interior's statement today, seeking to investigate individuals and organizations that were party to that, as well as journalists.
TJ Kajwang was arrested while he was leaving court. You know, there was a matter in court dealing with the counties and the county assemblies. You know, and it's been referred to the Chief Justice. And while he was leaving from this particular matter, he accompanied by lawyer Kaluma, who is also a member of Parliament. He was arrested and taken in to police custody, you know, at the provincial police headquarters near the anti-corruption officers. And we mobilized a few lawyers to go and defend him. The Honorable Otiende Omolo, among others, and his brother, Senator Kajwang. And when we went to that particular place, we were actually locked out and tear gassed this afternoon. And after that, they told us that they were taking him to Kiambu DCI, and we went there, and of course he was never taken there, and we are still looking for him. We hope that he will be taken to court tomorrow. The charges preferred against him are very flimsy, that he attended an illegal gathering. Of course, the gathering is defined by the Constitution. It is also alleged that he administered an oath, an illegal oath. Of course, you know, the sort of oath which was going on during the Mau times have as a particular place in the law, and this is of course not what Kajwang was doing. In fact, the Honorable Kajwang did not break any law. So if this is what Matiang'i is talking about, then I think he has missed the point. The matters which are happening in this country are very grave. We have total constitutional failure, and in fact, when you arrest somebody for such misdemeanors, they should be automatically under Article 49 released on bond, in fact, personal bond as a member of Parliament, and are presented before any court within 24 hours. So we expect him to be presented tomorrow morning. And of course, the arresting officer and the IO, the investigating officer, of course, we must challenge must be challenged in court to explain why they kept them overnight, why the Constitution automatically guarantees their freedom. So what Matiang'i is grappling with is bigger than what he's talking about. We seriously need a constitutional change. We need a constitution which can hold this country together. You'll be surprised, and I'm sure the Attorney General is in court over this. The events of yesterday are likely to be declared very legal by the courts, and all these criminal cases will collapse. He has threatened to arrest everybody who was in that meeting yesterday. They run in millions, so I don't know how many cells he has and how he's going to prosecute this. It's quite unrealistic. I'm surprised, you know, as a proposed cabinet secretary in charge of Interior, he seems not to be very clear on what he wants to do and not to be well advised by those who should do so. And in fact, this doubles it with a further abuse of the Constitution that is not to undergo vetting. In fact, every proposed cabinet secretary should undergo vetting, including Matiang'i himself. Therefore, this is where we are.
Okay, Simeha, they're talking about an illegality that took place yesterday with the swearing in of Raila Odinga as the people's president.
If this was illegal, you first go for the person who took the oath. You know, why go for Kajwang? And anyhow, maybe they are still looking for the person who took the oath, and the rest of us, including myself, who helped to plan and actually attended yesterday's event from beginning to end. And as my colleague there says, there are so many of us who had planned and attended this event. Please come for us. If Matiang'i thinks this is illegal, don't go intimidating one person one at a time. Just come for all of us, and let's see where we get with this. I sympathize with Matiang'i. You know, this is a government that is in office illegitimately. We don't recognize it, so we're not surprised when they do these kind of things. When I hear him talk about rule of law is not by their definition. It is as written in the Constitution.
Okay.
It's as written in our laws.
All right, that's a good place when you discuss the rule of law, because Matiang'i spoke exactly about that and upholding the rule of law. Let's listen to him, and then we'll come back and talk some more.
We are resolute on one thing. We will not accept subversion and criminal acts of subversion that are disguised as political activities. Therefore, we will act decisively, and I do not need, as you have noticed these days, we long lost the days of threatening action. We will act. The individuals who are involved in this and the organizations involved in this, wherever they are within the borders of this country, will feel it. And they will be so sorry they tried. Our law enforcement agencies are working hard on this. We're working on a multi-sectoral basis, and we will bring each one of the individuals involved in legal activities to book. And we will process them through the recognized legal process. But we will arrest them, those we need to arrest, and we will take them before a judge or before a magistrate, and we will both go there for the law to be interpreted for us.
Simeha, they're following the rule of law and they will act.
I'm saying that I absolutely, completely disagree with him that they are following any rule of law, because the event that took place yesterday was a very public event, has been planned for a long time. We've kept the plans public. We've kept informing the nation and the world that we are planning to do exactly this for this purpose, on this day, at this place, at this hour. So what is he investigating? What are they investigating? When this is something we've made very public. And you know
yes,
what?
But they say, Simeha, that you were swearing in Raila Odinga yesterday as president. You didn't even use the oath that, as is prescribed in the Constitution, and yet there is already a president, whether you might recognize him or not, that has the instruments of power and has been sworn in as the president of the Republic. We certainly cannot have two presidents in one nation.
These people have usurped the instruments of state power, but the person we swore in yesterday has the nation. And power ultimately comes from the citizens of this nation. They're the ones who confer power upon those leaders whom they want to confer. So we have no problem with them having instruments of state power. We will deal with that, Yvonne. That is why we have begun a process of dealing with that constitutionally and legally.
Perhaps that's a statement that someone might be worried about, that you will deal with that they have the instruments of power. Let me speak to Dan Manzo for a moment. Yes. With respect to the legality of what happened yesterday, yes. Having two presidents, and would this not count as subversion or subversive activities?
I don't think so, because we've been telling Matiang'i and his friends that we need to look at the Constitution of 2010. This is where it originates. Of course, we know there is a president sworn with the Constitution, and of course, which could have been an error without have he frustrated the institutions such as IBC, and it is on record, and the courts, and they found themselves being sworn in, and that's already a government which is in place under the same constitution. But at the same time, the constitution recognizes the sovereign power of the people. And what the people are saying, there is an error. Two mistakes, you can't really run with them. You have two errors. Therefore, can you rectify these errors? And this is where we are. So I've heard him talk of those offenses.
Swearing in Raila Odinga sorts out the electoral injustices you speak of. How?
No. The people only pronounce themselves. It's just one step into many other steps which will be made so that these errors can be corrected. The people of Kenya, through him, have spoken. I can assure you, this was not Honorable Raila's personal initiative. This initiative was widely and is widely carried on in the nation. And the biggest challenge of any president in power is to unite the people. So where do you begin uniting the people other than the Constitution? Yeah. So since we are in a crisis, just like the one which was one time mentioned by Justice Kriegler, it is not really clear who won the election. And therefore, people need to sit down and rectify the Constitution and probably go for proper elections. And running around with criminal cases is not going to solve the problem. So I think the problem is bigger than what he's talking about. That, suppose now Raila Odinga is acquitted of those offenses, then what happens? This is a people's decision. It must be respected.
Okay.
People from Makueni constituency came to Nairobi yesterday and witnessed the swearing.
Okay, thanks, Dan. I'd like us to give our closing comments now. Where do we go from here? And perhaps, Dan, just a quick one, because Otiende Amolo, Member of Parliament for Rarieda, is tonight saying that security for all opposition MPs has been withdrawn. You are one of those MPs.
Yes.
Can you confirm this or deny this tonight? Do you have your security or not?
What has happened is the security has been withdrawn systematically one by one since yesterday. I really don't know the progress. Most probably, if there is any communication to myself personally, I will know it today. But I understand from the day as of yesterday, a lot of security has been withdrawn, and you know each security was a choice of each particular member of parliament, and they come from different departments of the police. So what he says, it's true. I know.
So do you have security right now, or not?
Right now, I don't have my security right now.
Okay.
And I know 10 members of parliament who we proceeded to the release of the Honorable Kajwang. None of them made their security.
Okay. Where do we go from here, Simeha?
Well, I believe a debate is necessary in the country.
Okay, let Dan go first.
No, it's okay, Dan. Finish.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, I believe the current crisis, and churches have spoken, different sections of the country have spoken. I'm sure the current government is aware there is a need of structured dialogue so that we can make the necessary amendments of the Constitution and any other necessary laws so that we can unite the country. Every Kenyan needs peace. We need a rule of law in the country so that we can serve all Kenyans and unite Kenya. Kenya is a great nation. It needs to move forward.
Thank you, Dan Manzo. Simeha, where do we go from here? What are your expectations of the hours and days to come? Indeed, that seems to be very crucial now.
Yeah, first of all, Yvonne, don't be afraid of the word deal with them. Basically, I mean that we will deal with them by force of reason. We will deal with them by force of law and the Constitution, and we will deal with them by force of the sovereign power of the people. All those are very positive things. So don't be afraid of that word, that term, deal with them. That's what I mean. Where do we go from here? As my colleague, brother says there, that either there's an acknowledgement that we have a serious problem in this country, and therefore, as sisters and brothers, united by the nation called Kenya, we acknowledge that problem and sit down and have a national conversation, not boardroom deals. When we talk about dialogue, some people think that we are saying, let's hide in a boardroom and agree on sharing positions. Not at all. A national conversation on what went wrong and how can we fix it. It's specifically beginning with electoral justice. The moment we have that, by the way, it is so easy, and it will get done. But should they choose to go the way they seem to be going, We are totally prepared for them. We will not be cowed, we will not be intimidated, we are not afraid. Those of us, some who are older than myself, even my age, at some point I felt in the 90s, we've been through worse. So we are prepared to face them at every corner and ensure that we liberate this country.
JME Simeha, NASA strategist Dan Manzo, Makueni MP, thank you, gentlemen, for being with us tonight. Indeed, the next few hours and days will be critical. Let me just do a quick recap for you tonight. TJ Kajwang, who's a member of parliament for Ruaraka, remains under arrest in police custody. And we also understand that police are waiting outside the Nation Media Group offices in the city center of Nairobi with orders to arrest journalists Linus Kaikai, Larry Madowo, and Ken Mijungu. That is what is happening at this moment. Things could change any minute. This is the big story. We'll see you again soon. I'm Yvonne Okwara Matole. Good night.